Hello everyone, the tracking tool is ready for 2015-2016 school year, and it comes with a lot of new features that I want to talk about in this video. First, I'll show you how you will download the data file on Euphoria, and then we'll see the new features of the tool after running it. We sign in Euphoria, click Aware, Quick Views. Throughout the year, you may need to go with District Assessment or Practice Star. At this point, I'll go with Star Test. 2015, let's go with 6th grade math. On the drop-down menu, we used to go with individual student responses for item analysis. There's another one there at the bottom here. Individual student responses for item analysis with current classes. We're going to go with this one. After we get the data updated on the screen, we go to Print, Export to Excel. We open up the downloaded file. We just click on it. Here we go. Enable editing. Now we need to select all the cells with data. There are a couple of ways to do that. Either you select cells manually, go all the way down, or you can use keyboard shortcut. In order to use keyboard shortcut, you select one of the red cells and you press Ctrl A on the keyboard. It's always a good idea to scroll all the way to the right and see what you have selected. We should not go beyond this column in our selection. Okay, let's do that again. Let's copy all the data cells. We click on one of the red cells, we press Ctrl A on the keyboard, and then we press Ctrl C on the keyboard to copy what we've selected. Or you can right click and press copy. Now we go back to the tracking tool and paste the copied cells here. Once you paste the data, the tool will arrange the sections for you. So you will not need to make a lot of downloading on a Euphoria and follow the same steps again and again. After arranging section is finished, the tool will be saved as the first section in the list. You can compare the name of the file and the first section here. When you select another section, you will be asked to make a choice between yes, no, or cancel. If you press yes, the current section will be saved and the tool will be reset for a new section. If you press no, the current section will not be saved and the tool will be reset for the new section. If you press cancel, nothing happens, it just remains same. Let's press cancel. Let's select this section. We press yes and see what happens. The tool is being reset for the new section. Okay, the tool is ready for the new section. We get the new data for the new section. Let's go ahead and run the tool. Okay, it's completed. I kept the names blurry for privacy purposes. In part 2, I'll explain how to use the tool, the new features, menu of colors, reporting sections, etc. The tracking tool now can archive the data from different tests, so we can compare them. After we run the tool, we press Reset button to prepare it for another test. When we press Reset button, you will be asked if you want to keep the archived data from the previous run. If you press yes, the current section will be deleted, however the actual data we run will be kept in the tool. If you press no, everything will be deleted including archived data, so we can start over. If we press cancel, nothing will happen. I already run the tracker for a past STAR test. Since last year and this year's standards are different, we won't be able to compare the tests. So we don't need archive data from last year's STAR test. You can just keep it as a separate file. Now we need to start all over to prepare the tool for a district assessment. We press no to delete the archive data and everything. Here we go. The tool is ready to start all over from a district assessment, and then we'll continue to use the same tool for a mock test and so on. Here's a sample district assessment. Let's run this test. When I was creating the video, I noticed a problem and I just added another feature. Before, it was loading the first section automatically. Now we can select any section we want. As long as you keep the archive, the tool will remember our selection and we won't be asked again. So let's run the tool for this section, number 6. So we put 6 and press OK. You can see the selection we made here. Now we're going to run the tool. We didn't have colors before. What are these colors? What do they mean? If we scroll down a little bit, here they are. The red color shows the students who failed pretty bad. The light yellow shows the students who were close to pass but they couldn't make it. The dark yellow shows also the bubble kids who passed but they barely made it. The light green shows the ones who are close to be commended, and the dark greens are the commended students. These black cells show the questions in the test belong to this standard. And these students missed number 7, these ones missed number 6. These 2 students missed 1 and 7 only, and there's only 1 student who missed these 3. Since there is no any student in here, apparently there is no any student who missed all these 4. Let's run the tracker for a sample mock test so we can analyze the other features. We go back to the data sheet, we click on reset button. Yes, I want to keep the archive for DA1. Here's a sample STAR practice. We copy this to the tracker. After arranging the sections, the tracker will select the test here automatically based on the date or the data you paste, etc. You should double check what's selected and change if you think it's wrong. For instance, the tool assumed that I was going to run it for last year's STAR since it is the beginning of the year now, but I want to run it for Mach 1, so I'm just going to select Mach 1 here. Also, since we already run it for the district assessment before, the tool remembered the previous section we used. You can see it here, but it's always a good idea to just double check. Okay. Now we're just going to run the tool. You can load the DA1 back by clicking here. Let's go back to Mach 1. You can click here to export the intervention groups to a Word document so you can print it easily. Here we go. How about this cutoff point? What do we use it for? This number is the range decider for the bubble students. Let me show you here. As default, there are 4 questions above or under from the passing point. When you increase this number to 7, for instance, you will get this kind of picture. You have smaller red area but larger yellow part. This feature allows us to be flexible on colors. Let's say you want to assign the red ones to an interventionist, but there are too many students who failed. You'll increase this cutoff point until you find a reasonable number. Let's play with this number and see what's happening. When I increase this number to, let's say, 10, probably I'll have a very small number of red ones and a lot of yellow ones. Let's see. Okay, how about the standards page? In this sheet, you can find individual student performance through different assessments, so you can monitor the progress. We already run the tool for DA1 and Mach 1. You can see how these particular students performed on these two assessments. You can select different students on this drop-down menu to see how they performed. Students are listed based on their performance. When you go down, you're going to have more green colors on the screen. This part will help you to have different sorting options. Currently it's sorted by Mach 1 and it's by class average. If you want to sort it by DA1, you just click on DA1. You can also sort it by TEKS or reporting categories or readiness or supporting standards. On this sheet, you can export two different reports. One of them is student progress monitoring. The other one is intervention tracking sheet. Let's see the first one. Since there is data only for DA1 and Mach 1, they are the only ones selected. You can still select others, but they will be empty on the report. The intervention is the empty column far right side on the report, which will help us to take organized notes. I will show that later. You can export either to Microsoft Word or to PDF. I like Word better since it is easier to manipulate. Orientation will change automatically based on how many tests you're exporting. If you have more than 2 tests, portrait will be deactivated because its width won't be enough. You can either export the last student you selected on the drop-down menu, or you can select all of the students. Obviously, all students will take longer time to process. There are some other settings here. Feel free to play with them and then see how they can be used. How about the standards we didn't cover yet? It is totally a different story. I'll prepare another video for that. Since they will be used not for DAs, but the mock test, we'll have time for that. Let's run the report for this student and see how it looks. Since we sorted the standard sheet by readiness and supporting standards lastly, the report was exported that way. However, I recommend you to make the sorting based on the last report run. In this case, it's Mach 1. Here's the intervention column I was talking about. Interventionists and the teachers will use this column to take notes, like when intervention is provided, student understanding, etc. For instance, there were 2 questions in the test for this particular standard, and she missed question number 1 in this standard. After intervention is provided for this standard, the teacher will find this report in the intervention binder and write down the intervention date, if she mastered or she was absent, this type of information. The second report is intervention tracking sheet. Let's go back to the student's sheet and change this cutoff point to the default 4 and come back to standard sheet, and let's select Mach 1. So we're going to run the report for Mach 1, and let's press report 2 for the second report. Here we go. This report will be used as a quick snapshot about the intervention program. It shows students with their weak areas. Here's the meaning of each symbol on this report. When a student masters less than 25% of the questions for a standard, it will be a red dot with a white cross in it. When student masters between 25% and 50% of the questions, it will be lighter red color. When it's between 50% and 75%, it will be yellow exclamation mark. When more than 75% is mastered, it will be green check mark. Let's take a look at how this student performed. His percent score is 19%, so he answered 19% of the questions correctly. 91% is the average success rate for this standard. In order to find out how many questions we had in that standard and what they are, we need to go back to the student sheet. There are two questions in this standard, question number 16 and 51. 93% of the students got it right for question number 16, and 89% of students got it right for question number 51. And average success rate for this standard is 91%. Let's go back to the report. It seems that Michael answered both of those questions correctly, and he missed all of the questions on this standard. Please notice that the standards are sorted based on the average success rates. During intervention, we need to start from this standard and go to the right. It's pretty much it. Please don't hesitate to contact me when you have any questions or suggestions. Thank you for your time.